Hi, and welcome back. Welcome back to the Summer Series 2.0 with Inspiring Workplaces in partnership with H&H. We are now on day 8, and I'm learning so much this summer already. I keep saying this, but I look forward to this time every single day this summer. I'm Ruth Dance. I'm from Inspiring Workplaces. I'm one of the hosts of the Summer Series, and I'm super happy to be back again today. In the 7 days of the Summer Series so far, we've had some amazing speakers on topics including trust, inclusion, hybrid working, well-being, the Magica model for employee experience, and yesterday on organizational resilience. On Tuesday, just 2 days ago, I brought you not one, but 2 amazing speakers. And today, we're so lucky because I'm going to do exactly the same. We have Rachel Cook, who is the Director of Human Resources at Eco Water Systems. And we also have Emma Stappenbeck, who is a Client Success Manager from Reward Gateway. And this is really going to be a conversation on how Eco Water are and have been addressing their challenges and setting the course to achieve their organizational and employee engagement objectives. And the subject today is all about continuous appreciation. Emma, Rachel, are you there?
We are here.
Hi. Hi. Welcome to you both. It's so nice to see you. You're both looking summery, ready for the Summer Series. So I'm going to take it off the stage and we're going to bring up your slides that you've wonderfully prepared for us today. And Emma, I'm going to hand over to you first, okay? I'll see you shortly for Q&A.
Perfect. Thank you, Ruth, and thank you, Inspiring Workplaces, for having us today. My name's Emma Stappenbeck. I recently joined Reward Gateway as a Client Success Manager. Previously, I was in a sales role within the tech staffing industry, but I was really drawn to the relationship management portion of my role. I actually landed at Reward Gateway due to their innovative approach to employee engagement, technology, and building genuine relationships with clients such as Rachel. Working together for the last couple months has been such a joy, and I'm excited to share where we are in our journey. With that, I will turn it over to the Director of HR at Eco Water Systems, Rachel Cook.
Thank you, Emma. I'm really excited to be here.
Before I start, I always like to share Reward Gateway's mission to make the world a better place to work. This is an exciting but a lofty mission. As such, with all missions, it's an important piece that we have real ways to achieve it. I'm going to show you now how we do that. First, our technology, our products, and our services. They're there to help support HR and business leaders. We know that when somebody uses the products, whether that's employee recognition, communication, surveys, discounts, and/or well-being, we're helping to make their corner of the world a better place to work. Then we have our research and our content. This includes books like Build It and Crave, written by Reward Gateway advisors who have worked with us over the years to help us achieve our mission of making the world a better place to work. We love to share best practices through webinars, conferences, and through our blogs. Go to rg.co/blog to sign up if you haven't already. The third and final area is the Reward Gateway Foundation. There are millions of people around the world who need some extra support in finding secure work, sometimes due to their economic position, background, ethnicity, or gender. That is why the RG Foundation exists, to support organizations within the US and around the globe to not only make the world a better, but fairer, safer, and more equal place to work. In fact, the foundation has already delivered over $500,000 in grants. Before we dive into the agenda, I just wanted to mention that we will have time for questions at the end of the presentation, so feel free to send them in the chat feature and we'll address as many as we can. So here's today's agenda. We're going to be addressing how Eco Water is defining a culture of appreciation, how they found the right recognition partner, how we are making their vision a reality, and what next steps are in their journey. This will be a Q&A format between Rachel and myself, and we're going to jump in. Rachel, why don't you start by telling us about yourself and what your role is at Eco Water Systems?
Of course. So as you mentioned, I'm the Director of HR with Eco Water, which is a Marmon Holdings and Berkshire Hathaway company. We're a leading manufacturer of water softening and water filtration products. We have almost 500 employees across our Minnesota headquarters, as well as 2 other manufacturing plants in Mississippi. I joined EcoWater about 3 years ago during a time when HR was emerging as a strategic function within the business, which was super exciting for me. I'm a member of the company's senior leadership team, and my primary focus areas include driving engagement and transforming the culture. As part of that, I just recently led a project focused on developing the company's mission, vision, and values. Part of our newly established values is to celebrate and be encouraged by each other's successes. The desire to bring this value to life, combined with survey feedback and recognition and rewards, has led us, as you know, Emma, into this exciting partnership with Reward Gateway.
You mentioned your mission, vision, and values. Can you explain what that means at EWS and how you plan to measure success against this objective?
Sure. I'm super passionate about this topic and could talk about it all day, but for us, our mission, vision, and values is more than words on paper. It's something that we're really striving to embed within the culture. Our mission and vision, of course, defines who we are and gives us direction. Our values, which are integrity, innovation, inclusiveness, and inspiration, really define our culture. We have specific definitions for each of these values to help transform the words into behaviors. As I mentioned, one of those specific definitions is to celebrate and be encouraged by each other's successes. Reward Gateway is going to help us bring the words of the mission, vision, and values to life and engage the workforce in a digital workspace.
Yeah, it sounds like it was really important to get alignment in your organization for this objective. Who were the key stakeholders involved in defining the objective and deciding how to address it?
That's a really great question. So it's ultimately our senior leadership team, which is comprised of our president, vice presidents from sales and marketing, engineering, finance, operations, manufacturing, engineering, and of course, HR. This is not going to be successful without the support of the full leadership team. It's not something that HR can do in a vacuum. So in order to ensure we had a good understanding of employee desires and expectations, we also engaged our extended leadership team, as well as focus groups made up of employees of varying levels and varying departments. One identified hurdle to overcome that was evident almost immediately was gaining alignment on an appropriate rewards and recognition strategy. I was actually surprised by all the differing perspectives on the types of rewards, program structure, how frequently to reward, how much to reward, you name it. And consistent with research on this topic, there was also very clearly a generational trend on how people thought about rewards. It was kind of a funny story. We were on a senior leadership Zoom meeting talking about this, and after the call, one of the senior leader's daughters came up to him and just said, "Hey, Dad, I completely disagree with everything you said about rewards." So it was just, again, spoke to the challenges of the different views and perspectives.
That's such a great story, and it really is so true. I love it every time you share it. I get a good laugh. Now that EWS has defined its objectives for reward and recognition, and then align that to your mission and values, how did you exactly go about selecting a recognition partner?
Great question. And we ultimately researched vendors. We had about 4 that we were looking closely at, and of course, ultimately chose Reward Gateway. There were some general similarities across the board, but there are a few reasons Reward Gateway stood out. So first, we have presence in Canada and the US, and Reward Gateway easily accommodates global companies, so that was super important for us. Second was Reward Gateway's partnership with Amazon. This was a really cool way for us to give endless options to our diverse workforce, all the way from the C-suite employees to the plant floor. Finally, the automation features that facilitate the human interaction. This was really important. For example, managers are automatically notified in advance of milestones like anniversaries, birthdays. One of our senior leaders, actually, before we even started looking at Reward Gateway or any system, had specifically requested this kind of feature. And of all the vendors we looked at, Reward Gateway was the only one that could deliver on that particular topic.
Absolutely. And I know we discussed the key impact of stakeholders and senior leaders within this entire process. Tell us a bit more about your culture champions and how they're supporting the launch of your program.
Sure. I mentioned earlier that we have culture focus groups, as well as several managers and individual contributors that are just passionate about this topic. So we have gained feedback from this representative group throughout the process, and will continue to do so to ensure the platform meets employee expectations and desires across all levels of the functions. They've really helped shape how we are customizing the platform, and the diverse perspectives these cultural champions bring beyond our senior leadership team has been extremely important and valuable.
Absolutely. Let's shift gears quickly and discuss so far how you're translating this vision into a reality. How is RG helping you reach this diverse employee base?
Another really great question and super important for us. So we needed to find a solution that was going to meet the needs of and unite our everyday company email users as well as our plant floor employees. For our email users, Reward Gateway offers the ability to integrate with some of our everyday apps like Teams and Outlook. This is really important for us because for us, we needed a system that was easily accessible. If it's a pain to get into, then our fear was people weren't going to access. Then for our plant floor employees who don't have company emails and are not on the computer on a regular basis, the mobile app is the perfect feature.
Yes, and as we chat now about the platform, we wanted to just show you all a sneak peek of Tap In. I just wanted to note that certain features are still underway since we are in implementation, so you will see a cacti in a few places. These are areas such as birthday and anniversary, where once automated, we'll integrate the client data, and then the blog and recognition feature where content will be created by EcoWater employees once we launch. So Rachel, do you want to just do a quick overview of the platform homepage?
Yeah, and it's so exciting to see every time. So it's getting more and more involved every time I see it. But so here's our platform, Tap In. To start with the name and the logo, we really wanted something for us that was going to relate to our company. And we shared that with the Reward Gateway marketing team. They came back with great ideas to help us refine, and we ultimately chose Tap In. Reminder, we're a water filtration business, so we thought it was creative. We can use phrases like, don't forget to tap into EcoWater, something that was going to kind of flow nice with who we are. With the logo, the marketing team was super creative in integrating our newly updated logo within the title. They were super patient and helpful in ensuring the name and logo was going to be something that we could really get excited about. You can see on the top how the platform features our mission, vision, and values. We feature this because our reward and recognition is based on people living out our mission, vision, and values. You can also see the link at the top left for sending recognition and right below for the birthday and anniversary recognition, which will of course flow through once the data is entered. Again, automating those types of milestones is going to be a huge win for us. Beyond recognition, one of my favorite features, which we weren't even really necessarily looking for at the time, is communication capabilities. You can see the featured links for people news, new hires, and blogs. I have so many ideas about the types of blogs we can feature, but to start, we're going to have one focused on safety, which was super important in our manufacturing environment. Eventually, we also plan to establish bloggers within each department that can update the company on news happening within their department. So it's going to facilitate some great communication wins for us. Finally, we have links to frequently used websites and just basic benefits info. This was just an extra added cool feature for us because we don't have an official intranet at EcoWater, so it helps just meet an additional need that we didn't even expect. And then to measure success, Reward Gateway has really great usage analytics, which we'll be able to use to help understand who's using the site, how it's being used, which products they're using. This is going to be super key for us to develop strategies to promote continued use after the system is launched. And since we're still under construction, I haven't yet seen the mobile access view, but I'm super excited to see how it turns out.
As am I. For the final topic of today, let's review everything you're doing to prepare for launch.
Sure, and that's kind of something that's becoming a reality right now as we speak. And again, super exciting. And Reward Gateway has been tremendous support in providing communications, posters, flyers, postcards, etc. One of the most important aspects that we're beginning to focus on right now too is finding our first followers, so to speak, people who are really going to drive the system adoption. These folks are going to be trained on the platform in advance of launch and are hoping they'll be our kind of super users to help start building the momentum. We're also training and educating our supervisors in advance so we can get them excited about the system. Our thought is that if HR drives it, it's going to be kind of generic because that's what HR is supposed to do, right? But if a manager drives it, thought is it's going to be more authentic. So that's our goal.
Absolutely. I'm so glad that you touched on what we call program champions and adoption and the usage piece. You actually stole my follow-up question. But before we jump into the Q&A portion from the audience, is there any last piece of advice or comments that you want to share about your recognition journey so far?
Yeah, I mean, I could go on because there's a lot here, but I guess a couple of the things that I would say is just, first of all, like there's so many opportunities. Don't feel like you have to do it all at once. For us, really coming from virtually nothing, I was just getting so excited about everything that we could do. And there's so many tools to engage employees, even beyond recognition, which again, I didn't even really realize as we were jumping into this. But it really pushes the engagement. So I've had to slow myself down and just remember, just launch it. And once you get it launched, there's so much more that you can continue to do with it. So really excited about that. And then I'd also say, just on your journey, if you're one of those people that's kind of at the beginning, you're trying, you have to do something in this area, but you don't know what to do. I have been there, and I completely understand that it can be challenging at times. So just be open-minded and don't give up. There were many moments early on where I was like, I'm never going to get everybody on the same page about this. I was so overwhelmed with the different perspectives and just thought, how is this ever going to work? But if you're bringing a business case, just always bring it back to the culture and the needs of the culture. And there's a solution out there, and Reward Gateway is exactly what we needed. So just, again, be open-minded and don't give up.
Yes, great advice, all of that. And thank you for your conversation today. I'm going to turn this back over to Ruth for the Q&A portion. But thank you again to Inspiring Workplaces for having us.
Thank you. Thank you, Rachel. And thank you, Emma. Sounds like a match made in heaven, you two, right? And how it's all worked. That's all I was thinking. Well, wow, that just worked perfectly. And I've just got to say, Tap In. I mean, what a great name. What a great name aligned to the business. I know, so good. It's really good. Now, I really do hate to be a pessimist, particularly before something's even launched. I know that you're trusting the culture and going with your needs. Do you foresee any challenges in uptake? Like, is that a sticking point for you? Are you concerned that it's just not going to land with some people? And how do you plan to win them over?
Yeah, no, that's a really good question. And that's something for me that sometimes slows me down. And I'm a person that has a tendency to want to please everybody, which is a challenge, right? But I think what gets me excited is that there are just certain features about it, just the communication feature and all these other pieces, that even if there are people out there that aren't, want recognition type people and they just don't like to do that, our thought is there's other things that are going to be enticing to bring people at least into the platform. And then we know we'll have those super users. And we know this because we have a lot of employee feedback on this topic. We want to be able to recognize our coworkers, and that's where a lot of this came from. So yeah, I definitely have those types of concerns that go through my head and fear pre-launch, but I know that there's so many other things that we can do. And I just keep telling myself that even when we launch, there's so many things that we can continue to do. We can gain employee feedback along the way and find ways. And that's part of what's great about Reward Gateway. It's just constantly customizable. And if something's not working, then we can work with the team on fixing it. So we're excited about that.
It's great.
Too. Oops, sorry. I was going to say a great part of the process that we're in right now is pre-launch communication. So how can we get buy-in from the top down within EcoWater system? So that's actually what Rachel and I have been working on in the past couple of weeks is customizing different mediums in order to get that initial buy-in even before launch. So really excited to get those out there.
Oh, I hate to come in with such pessimistic questions straight away before you even launched. But it's always one that the audience wants to know about, is how do we make this land, and how do we make this land with everyone? How do we make it work? And I'm sure you are, but things outside of a platform, like the non-adopters and the non-tech savvy and things that you're doing that are not platform or digital based, are you bringing those in as well for this kind of culture of continuous appreciation?
Yeah, and that's a really good question, because right now we have a lot of non-digital users, so to speak. So we're having to get really creative. I mean, the majority, 2/3 of our employees are plant floor, not at their computers every day. So, and even if they do have the mobile app, I mean, how many of them are going to care about this after work? I mean, when your job is done, your job is done. So there's also opportunities. So we have displays in our plant. So we'll be able to show, I mean, we can feature some of the things within Reward Gateway and feature the platform in the plant so that if people never even access it, then they can still see it that way. There's also for us, part of what we're using is the feature of giving people points, and those points can be used to buy things. As I mentioned, it integrates with Amazon, which was huge for us. It's like finding this is one of my most challenging times of year is like holiday gifts and things. Like, how am I going to find something everybody's going to appreciate? So the fact that people can get instant rewards through points and they can use it can link with their own personal Amazon account, so they can use it like towards just use if they have $5, for instance, they can use that to buy a bigger purchase. So there's just different things like that that get me excited that even if we have somebody that doesn't go in and use the system, I mean, we can physically print the reward that we give them and say, hey, you have points to use within Reward Gateway. Let me help you get signed up. And so there's different things that we're anticipating that are going to force us to be creative. And we have some of those things in our back pocket already.
Great. And that's really great to hear.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have any audience questions that have come through? We do. So we do have someone asking the timeline from when you started seeking a solution to then coming up with who you wanted to work with, which in the end was Reward Gateway. How long did that take you, Rachel?
So it took a few months to really get that internal consensus, as we shared earlier, just to get everybody on the same page. And once I got the feedback, which again was on complete ends all over the spectrum, once we knew kind of what we were looking for, it was really only a month or so that we looked at the vendors and just very quickly like, okay, we were able to quickly eliminate the ones that weren't going to help us with what we needed. And so it wasn't a long process once we knew what we were looking for.
Well, that's nice and quick. It took my husband 10 years to propose to me, so a couple of months. You're pretty decisive, Rachel.
You and I have something in common there.
Do we have any other audience questions? Okay. Oh, another question related to timelines here. What was the timeline from when you chose, which was that a couple of months, you were nice, quick, decisive, and then how long is it until go live?
So for us, it was about 12 weeks, give or take, and that's something that you can kind of, again, customize along the way. We recently just decided to delay ours, and the only reason was for that, as we all know, we're in summer, and summer in the state of Minnesota means vacation. So trying to align people and getting everybody set up, because we wanted to have the communication set up in advance. So again, about 12 weeks, but one of the things I will say is that once you get into the system and you get excited, like, okay, I've got this, we're ready to go. And then it's like, okay, how many people is it going to take internally? The IT team, all these things that do the integration, and Reward Gateway, just they have the team that makes that so easy, and they handhold you as much as you need along to get the system up and going, and to work with you on kind of what is going to work best. So you can go kind of as fast or as slow as you want, but it's typically about 8 to 12 weeks, and we've just kind of taken the later part.
Amazing. Well done, Emma, on that. A couple of months to decide and just a few months to get it going. Wow, you definitely work quicker than my husband. You too. Yeah. So, do we have any? Oh, we have one more question. What else are you planning to do with the platform after your initial launch? So I asked, what are you going to do if people don't adopt it? And someone in the audience is asking, well, what are you going to do after?
Yeah, and that's a good question. That's where the analytics and things are going to be really helpful for us to understand what our needs are. But for us, we have so much that we can do. And again, as I'm going through, I'm like, what's a blog? And I hear the word blog and I think of something and I'm just, wait, this is a communication tool? Like, oh my goodness, we have a huge need for communication. So that's kind of our thought. And our thought is that if there's maybe a lull or things that we can help time that with some of the new features to get people excited. So we know that people are creating and craving communication. And within our workspace, and especially after the post-COVID environment, we know that there's just this need to engage people differently. So we're going to kind of keep things in our back pocket, especially around communication tools. And I think it's probably going to be, like I said, we're kind of starting with that initial blog. that's going to be something that we kind of keep up with on a regular basis. But there's endless opportunities for different people who want to tap in and be a blogger themselves and help just keep the company updated on different things that are going on, which is something that we know through employee survey feedback that communication is key. And I can't think of one company who has 100% yes, we have nothing to improve upon communication. So there's always opportunity with that. And we know that we're going to have lots of different things that we can use to help push it along.
Amazing. Well, Rachel, Emma, we normally have people presenting case studies of something that's launched, happened. It's really refreshing to hear something right before launch, like before it's even happened. It's actually really refreshing to hear you on that initial journey and that pre-launch journey, which we don't always talk a lot about, that kind of building journey, that long engagement period or not. Huge thank you to anyone that's watching this on demand. There will be various links and content that you can see alongside this blog. And if anyone is watching this live right now, then it will be available on demand as well if you want to share or see any links or anything like that. So any final parting words of wisdom or advice for anyone that is wanting to really focus on building their culture of continuous appreciation from either of you?
I mean, for me, I would say, again, I'll just reiterate, don't give up, because it just feels like there are so many different perspectives on the right way to do this. And there's no right way for everybody. And so just be open-minded about the different opportunities and don't get scared of failure, because you got to try something to make it work. And if you know what doesn't work, then great, that teaches you for next time. So just be open-minded.
And I would say is a very overarching concept that the idea of continuous appreciation and building that culture is all evolutionary, kind of like we're doing with this site. We're going to build things over time. So your initial ideas might be big and all over the place, but with time, those are things you can grow, and that's how you really do build that culture. So that is my piece.
Rachel, Emma, thank you so much for joining us for Day 8. Gregory says thank you to Rachel and Emma as well. So a huge thank you from me, from our audience, and from anyone that's watching this on demand for sharing the story. Good luck with the launch. I'm sure it sounds like you've thought everything, so it's going to be amazing. And thank you for joining us for Day 8 of the summer series. Tomorrow is Friday. We have Jackie Hitt from Anglo American joining us. Same time, same place. Look out for the link. And I look forward to seeing you all next week. You've got Matt tomorrow, so great. Have a good one, everyone. Bye.